Hey, you guys. So I'm live over on my YouTube channel. So if you're on YouTube or have access to your YouTube, let me push it back a little bit. Join me over there. It's Garlinda Price. If you just type it in YouTube, you'll see my channel. So shout out to everyone that's going to join me here on YouTube, and shout out to you guys on Facebook. So I shared with you guys yesterday that I wanted to come to you and just give you business tips, right? I want to serve you and just share with you all the things I wish someone would have poured into me and sown into me when I was starting a business 33 years ago, right? And just things I wish I would have known. And so one thing I was just really led and inspired to share with you this morning is how to reignite your passion, right? How to reignite and restart your business when maybe you've lost the passion behind it. Maybe you started your business and you're like, yeah, not so much. I'm not interested, in the business anymore, but you still want to work for yourself. And so a lot of times we lose that passion, right? And what happens when we lose our passion? Like, how does that happen? Sometimes it's just the season, right? Not necessarily the season of the weather, but just the season that we're in life. Life happens. Life be life, and as people say, right? And then so sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's the fact that we're not making the money that we want to make or think we should make in the business. And so therefore, we think it's not a success because maybe it's not making the income we thought it would make. The third reason is maybe sometimes, depending on what type of business it is, we've started with people in business and then those people fall off, those people go away. They don't do what they say they're going to do. And we tie our emotions or attach what we want to someone else's intention, right? So that's really the word of today is intentionality, right? If you want to reignite your purpose and your passion behind why you started your business, you've got to get clear on your intentions, right? And I speak from experience. And so recently, and I ask myself this question often, right? I ask myself, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? When I'm not inspired or my passion isn't there for my businesses, right? Depending on what they are. And so if you don't know me, I'm Pastor Garlinda Price of Common Ground Ministry. Shout out to my honey bunny, Pastor Marvin Price Jr. He's at an expungement clinic today. He's so awesome. Love him. But today, hey, LaShonda. So today I want to talk to you about just reigniting your passion and your purpose around your business and bringing that spark back into your business and why you started in the first place. And so I'm Garlinda Price. Again, I'm also a business success coach. I teach men and women in the kingdom of God, kingdom entrepreneurs in marketplace ministry, how to earn their first six figures, right? I know everybody says that, right? Blah, 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 right? Is it true? Can you prove it, right? So I earned my first six figures in real estate back in 2011, somewhere around 2011. And the Lord blessed me up until that point. This is my 33rd year in business, right? I share that all the time because I want people to know I'm not new to business, right? I started my first business at 19. I've owned salons, multiple salons. To be exact, I've owned a real estate company, an insurance company, and I have two product brands. I have Glowhead Hair Care Inc., which is our product line has about 16 products, 3 new products launching this spring and summer. And I have Lux Skincare Plus Beauty by Garlinda. I started that company initially as Glamour Cosmetics back in 2009. So I've made money in business, lost a lot of money in business, and everywhere in between. So I'm speaking from experience, not theory, right? So today we're talking about your passion, because think about it, in 33 years, do you think I ever lost my passion? Bother me. Even in real estate, I was like, Lord, I don't want to do this anymore. So I literally, in real estate, I was licensed before a year. I didn't do anything. Like, I just couldn't get my motivation back. I told my husband I had lost my mojo, right? Because I'm a salesperson. Like, I know how to establish and build relationships. I know how to grow relationships with people to do business. And I had just lost all of that. But what I realized was I was uninspired, right? I had lost my passion for it and I didn't want to do it anymore because I had lost the reasoning behind why I was doing it, right? Because my initial why was one reason. And once I had accomplished the success I wanted, meaning I had made the six figures consistently, I realized I had achieved my goals. Right? Have you found yourself that place or in that place where you're like, you think that you're being lazy, right? A friend of ours, shout out to Benita, she was on my live yesterday. Sometimes we think we're being lazy And we start to say these negative things about ourselves, like, oh, well, I must just be lazy. No, maybe you're not lazy. Maybe you already achieved the goal. So literally, when I found myself in that space, what I did was I looked back over all the goals I had written. We're talking about how to get re-inspired and reignite your passion and your purpose for your businesses, right? And I'm specifically talking to Kingdom Entrepreneurs, Marketplace Ministers. Anyone that owns a business, I'm talking to you. Welcome. So what I realized when I went back over my written goals, I had achieved them all. Meaning I had said I wanted to earn six figures. I had said I wanted to be successful in real estate. I had said I wanted to own my own firm. I had said I wanted to create a lifestyle that I wanted for my family and I. Now, not all my goals. I don't have a beach house yet, and I want a beach house, right? Marvin Price Jr. I worry him every year. And this, to me, I'm like, this year I'm going to get a beach house, right? If it be the will of the Lord. And so I realized I wasn't lazy. I had achieved the goals I had written down. So I needed to write new goals. Is that you? Right. So how do you get reignited and re-inspired and re-passionate and re-purposeful about your business? Set your intention. Right. I also realized when I was uninspired about in my businesses or in my brands and just didn't want to do it and just didn't feel it. Right. My intentions were off. So there were times in my business where I was doing stuff for money, right? Have you ever started a business and you were just doing it for the money? You weren't necessarily, you were passionate about it for 90 days, right? Or you were passionate about it momentarily, but that passion didn't remain because your intention was off. So anytime I find that I've done things just for the sake of making a dollar, my intentions, it's not in alignment with who I am, right? Because who I am by nature is a servant. Right? Who I am by nature is I want to give, I want to help, I want to be a blessing to other people. So if my intentions are just money, it's off with the ministry purpose that God has placed in my heart and my spirit, man, which is to serve. So two things I want to share with you and what I just said and all that rambling was one, check your intention, right? Check your purpose around your business. We're talking about, if you're just joining us, welcome over on YouTube and welcome here on Facebook. You know, we're talking about how to reignite your passion and your purpose around your businesses if you feel like you've lost that, right? If you feel like your business is lackluster and you're not making the money you want to make or you're not making the connections you want to make, check your intentionality. What is your intention around the business and why you started it in the first place, right? So the first thing is intention. The second thing is why. Why are you doing it anyway? Right. And so I had to reconnect with a new why. When it was, so now that it's time for me to go to a different place in business and a different avenue, not a different avenue in business, to go higher in my income in business, right? I have to check my why. Why am I doing it in the first place? And I'll give you an example of a why. Hey, Drew, God bless you. So, and everybody else that I might not be able to see because it didn't show everybody. So initially when I started in my businesses, my why was centered around my mom and dad, right? Because they had made so many sacrifices for us. They were putting my brother through college. My sister and I were in high school. I'm wearing this little piece of hair is getting on my nose, right? My sister and I were in high school, getting ready to go to college. And so they were making a lot of sacrifices financially. And so my dad is a Marine. Shout out to all who have served. Thank you for your service and God bless you. Thank you that we're free because you allow us to be free because of your sacrifice. Hey, Benita. I was just talking about you. So my dad is a retired Marine, Semper Fi. And I remember when we were younger going to, he came back from Vietnam. And when he got back from Vietnam, it was hard for them to get jobs, right? So he would sell insurance during the day. He would pump gas at night. So my mom was driving to the gas station where he worked. And we were driving, and you know, you didn't have seatbelts back then. Yeah, I'm old. Right, I'm older. I think they had front seatbelts, but not back seatbelts. So my mom's driving down the street with this cup of coffee in her hand. And she goes to give it to my dad. And of course, we're little, we're in the back seat. So I see my dad's hand coming to the window, and his hand, he's shaking, he's cold, it's freezing outside. And my mom hands him this coffee, and he's out here doing this for us. Like, it's still literally, I could cry right now if my makeup wasn't done for where I'm going, right? So my dad puts his hand in the car, gets the coffee, and I realize that my dad is making this extreme sacrifice for us, for his kids and for his family, right? So from that point forward, that fueled me, that pushed me, that drove me to be successful and to want to be successful. And now my high school grades probably didn't reflect. Let the record reflect. I'm 54 now, so we're not gonna worry about what our grades were like in high school, right? But let the record reflect that I was not looking like a success in high school in terms of my grades. Let the record reflect my first 2 years in college. I did not look like a success at all to my parents, I'm sure, even though I realized later that was my why. So once I achieved those things and got to where I wanted to go, I no longer had a purposeful why. So therefore, my intentionality and my passion was it waned in my businesses because I no longer had a why, the reason why I was doing it. So Benita's on here now. So we talked about, I'm sorry, yeah, my allergies about me. We talked about yesterday, she was saying sometimes she feels lazy. And I'm like, and so I was sharing with her that it's not that you're lazy. So we're talking about how to repurpose and feel repassionate about your business and reignite your excitement around your business. So a why. Number one, what's your intention? Number two, what is your why? And it should bring you to tears. I know that sounds cliche and cheesy because we hear it all the time, but don't fight the system of what works. It's true, right? My why initially still brings tears to my heart when I think about my dad and his sacrifice. And my mom would tell us, now this is going to be too much information. She's probably going to pass out if she hears this part of my video, right? But she would say, let me make sure my volume is up. My mom would say she couldn't even afford new bras. Hey, Coretta over on YouTube. She would say she couldn't even afford new bras because she was putting, Mommy, I'm sorry, I love you. Hey, Nikki, because she was putting my brother through college and she was preparing to send us to college, right? So my parents were initially my why I wanted to succeed and why I grinded so hard to get to a certain place in business. But now that I want to go to another level in business, that why no longer serves me, although it's important, it got me to where I was going. So when you look at your businesses today and you look at where you are in your business today, and if you're not passionate anymore, you need to think about, why am I doing this? And you need to write it down. And it needs to be something that would make you cry. And it can't be your children, right? My children, I love them to life. They're 16 and 20. I have a 16-year-old daughter and a 20-year-old son. He's in college and she goes to Christian high school online, right? I love them, but they're not my why in business. Why? Because the minute they are, someone's children may cut up, they may decide, well, I ain't building this business for them, because then we make it about someone and we attach it to them. So my why was never attached to my parents. My why was attached to their sacrifice. So I felt like I owed them, right? So now that I feel like I've gotten to a place where they're proud of me, I always wanted them to be proud of me. Well, now I need to have a new why. Right. So now my intention in my family is I want to be the first millionaire in my family. Right. I want to be the first multimillionaire in my family. Why? I want to break that open for generations behind me to come to know that it's possible. It is possible, to know that it can be done. It can be done. And we're all going to do it. Your goals are different from mine. So I want you to think about your why, and it needs to be heartfelt and purposeful to the point that it would bring you to tears. Right? So number one, check your intentionality, write it down. What is my intention around this business that I'm owning, that I'm opening, that I'm launching, that I'm starting? What is my intentionality around it? If you're a marketplace minister and you're a kingdom entrepreneur, ask God, what is the intention around why you want me to do this? So then it will be embedded in your heart as to when you're moving forward, right? Secondly, why am I doing it? I think because God said so is obedience enough, right? Right. That's enough of a reason, but it's not the reason you want to write. That can be one of your reasons you write down, right? Because in Deuteronomy 28, 1-14, the Lord said obedience will bring about all these blessings, right? So obedience is better than sacrifice. We know that in the word of God. So what is your why? Write that down. But Deuteronomy 28, 1-14 tells us what will happen if we're obedient to if we're obedient to the call in our life. Okay. So how do you, what's another way? The third way that you can reignite your passion and repurpose your passion around your business if you've lost your motivation, look at your goals, right? Are your goals written down? And I know, I don't mean y'all in some formalized manner, because I'm very informal. And what I mean by that is I buck rules, I buck systems. I think rules are like blueprints for how things could go, right? Not how they have to be, right? I'm a rule breaker by nature, right? And so that's just my personality, and because I'm a risk taker, right? So I feel like, can we ask for forgiveness and not permission, right? So this is your permission to go be great, your permission to go be successful, right? What are your goals? That's good advice. What's my why? Amen, right? Because when you go back to your why and it reminds you why you're doing, I'm talking to Benita over on Facebook. When you go back to your why you're doing something, when you get off course, that'll be your guiding light. I'm doing this because of this. Okay, let me stay focused. Right? Because there are going to be times when we get off track. There are going to be times as a business owner when everybody's opportunity looks better than yours. Right? I hope I remember that and come back to that. But we're talking about, I already got sidetracked, right? I apologize, y'all. Talking to Benita, right? So what's your why? And then what are your goals? Write your goals down, and don't write down some long drawn out page of goals, right? And don't be formal about it, or, be detailed, but don't be so formal about it. Like, people, when they're going for opening their businesses and they're writing business plans. I never wrote a business plan, and I've owned successful businesses. I owned my first salon was in Stafford, Virginia. My second salon was in Caroline County, in the middle of nowhere in Virginia. It was such a blessing. We still made money, still did great, because when you know how to build and grow a business, you're going to be successful whether you wrote the plan out or not. And think about this: who, what, when, where, how, and why is a plan. It's a plan, right? So it doesn't have to be that you print out this thing from the SBA, which is a business plan, and then it has to be all formal and formalized, because guess what? For some people, that's overwhelming and they shut down. I'm the type of person, when I have too many details and it's too detail oriented, even though I'm a detail oriented person, when I'm being asked for a lot of information at once, I shut down. So what I realized for me in business is how I can align my goals with who I am as I follow those 5 things: who, what, when, where, how, 6, and why, right? Who is my client? What am I doing it for? Why am I doing it? Who, what, when, where? Where am I doing it? How am I doing it? Why am I doing it, if I didn't already say that? So who, what, when, where, how, and why is a business plan. Right? So when you're putting your goals together, make your goals somewhat, don't make them unrealistic, but make them challenging. So let's say your goal this year in your business is to earn an additional $24,000, $30,000. I'm just throwing a number out there. Double it. Challenge yourself, right? Because even if you double the goal and you don't make it, but you still make the initial goal, which was 24 to 30,000 extra dollars annually, right? And of course you may want more than that. You can do more than that. You can do 6 figures a year if you choose to, right? But let's just say you're starting out and you set this goal and you're intentional about the goal. You have your why, and you've answered the questions for yourself: who, what, when, where, how, and why, right? Why am I doing this? And we'll go into more detail on the next video with that. But write down your goals. We're going to start with that. What are your goals? How much money do you want to make? How fast do you want to make it, right? What are the sacrifices you're willing to make the goals, right? Because if you have a full-time job, you're a wife, you're a mom, you're a parent, you're a puppy mom, right? You're in organizations, whatever all these things are, other things are going to buy it for your time, in addition to your needing to work your business and wanting to work your business. So we can talk about another time also how to fit growing your business into the nooks and crannies of your life. Been there, done that, right? Benita said, I too been a rule breaker, not looking at it as a risk taker. You're a risk taker if you started a business, right? Because you invested your hard-earned money, not knowing what the outcome was going to be. You invested your hard-earned money not knowing what the reward or the return was going to be. But because you felt good about it, purposeful about it, passionate about it at the time, you said, okay, I'm willing to take the risk. I don't care if you risk $1. Right? If you risk $1 and you put your money into it, then it doesn't it make sense? Hey, Tabby, good morning. God bless you. Doesn't it make sense that you should look at it and say, okay, if I need to reignite my purpose and passion around this, and I need to set some goals around it and be intentional about it, know my why around it. I want you to go back and listen to the beginning if you just joined us, right? So when you're setting your goals,